If they do come get me, we'll move the car so they can get the space. We will move our car, whatever car we need so they can get the space, just let's get the park. So now oh no, we can't do that. No, you just gotta find somewhere else to park. Who the fuck is you talking to? You feel me? Like, who the fuck is you talking to for real, even talking like that? Like, that be the shit, and that's what make a motherfucker be wanting to get into it with y'all, because y'all ain't got no respect. What's up, bro? What's up? Hell no!
Chicago police are investigating the shooting death of a man shot while in the middle of a Facebook live stream. Video viewed almost 2 million times on Facebook shows Kevin Watson getting out of a car, and then seconds later, you hear gunfire.
What's up?
Chicago police say the shooting happened about 6:15 last night near Madison and Laverne on the west side. Watson was sitting in a car when another vehicle approached and someone inside began shooting. He died from his injuries. Police have not made any arrests.
On August 13th, 2025, in Chicago's South Austin neighborhood, Kevin Watson, also known as Tugg, was parked in his vehicle on the 5000 block of West Madison Street. He lived 2 blocks from the location. At the time, he was live streaming on Facebook, speaking about a parking issue while seated in the driver's seat. The area contained a liquor store, small retail shops, and a parking lot with moderate foot and vehicle traffic. Surveillance cameras from nearby businesses were in position to record activity in the lot. The weather was clear and warm, with daylight still present. Kevin's live stream showed him wearing a large chain, speaking directly to the camera and gesturing with his hands. Customers were entering and exiting the liquor store during the broadcast. A white vehicle entered the lot and stopped near Kevin's car. An individual either stepped out or leaned from the window. A brief verbal exchange took place between the two. The live stream recorded the words, "What's up, bro?" followed by, "What's up? Hell nah." The situation progressed from verbal to physical contact. Witnesses later stated that there was an attempt to take Kevin's chain, followed by a brief struggle. The live stream continued to record as events unfolded. Individuals nearby began to move toward the vehicles involved. Those watching the broadcast were able to see the interaction in real time without knowledge of the outcome. The scene remained active, with vehicles in the lot and pedestrians in the vicinity. Within moments, the sequence of events in the parking lot shifted from a recorded conversation to a police matter that will be documented by multiple sources and reviewed by investigators. Stay with us as we unravel this shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin. Kevin Watson was a 42-year-old resident of Chicago's South Austin neighborhood. Friends, family, and local residents knew him by street nickname Tugg. The origins of that nickname trace back to his younger years, though the exact meaning varied depending on who was telling the story. Some say it was given because of his habit of tugging along his friends into business ideas and street ventures, while others claim it was simply a name that stuck from childhood. Whatever the origin, Tugg was how most people addressed him in conversation, on the street and on social media. Kevin lived just 2 blocks from where he would eventually lose his life. His home was a familiar spot to those who knew him, a place he returned to after work, after promoting his clothing brand, or after hanging out in the neighborhood. He was a father to a 6-year-old child, a role he openly embraced. His cousin, Jacquez Smith, was among his closest relatives. Jacquez worked at a liquor store near the eventual crime scene, a location that would connect directly to the event of August 13th, 2025. Beyond Jacquez, Kevin's family included a sister-in-law, a nephew, and extended relatives who took to social media after his death to post tributes. These posts reflected the personal connections he maintained and the role he played in their lives. Kevin was the owner of Out the Mud Clothing, a small but recognized local clothing line. He was known to wear and promote his brand in nearly every appearance, whether in person or on his frequent live streams. He used social media not just for personal expression, but also to display his work advertise new clothing drops, and keep his presence visible in the community.
You ain't never stood out this long when it was hot, when that sun out, though. But we ain't don't do that today. You don't be out here when that sun be out for real. You out here for a little minute now. Wait till that 92 hit. I want to see the same energy.
His reputation was built on a mix of humor, directness, and generosity. Friends often spoke of how he helped others, getting his cousin a job, offering advice, and stepping in when someone needed guidance. His big chain style was a signature look, and it made him stand out in any crowd. Kevin was highly active on Facebook Live, where he addressed topics ranging from neighborhood disputes to personal reflections. He sometimes used a platform to speak on local tensions, share his views on community issues, and engage with viewers in real time. Though he wasn't a celebrity, he was a recognized figure in South Austin, known enough that his presence drew attention, and his words could stir both support and disagreement. His outspokenness occasionally brought controversy, but also kept him relevant in local conversations.
Good morning, my people. One thing life taught me, you'll ruin yourself trying to make sure everybody else happy. You feel me? Make sure you happy first. That's where it started at. Everything start with you. It's all about you first. Then you take care of everybody else.
South Austin is located on Chicago's west side, bordered by West Garfield Park and Lawndale. The area has long been associated with a high rate of violent crime, a fact reflected in city statistics. At the time of Kevin's death, South Austin had already recorded another homicide on the same block earlier that same week, underscoring the ongoing dangers in the neighborhood. The socioeconomic landscape of South Austin is shaped by poverty, unemployment, and limited resources. These challenges have fueled persistent tensions between residents and law enforcement, creating an environment where trust is strained and community disputes can escalate quickly. The physical scene where Kevin's life ended was the 5,000 block of West Madison Street. The block included a liquor store, small retail spaces, and a parking lot that became central to the incident. Notably, this location was only a few blocks away from a police station, making proximity to law enforcement an important detail. The cultural climate of the area was influenced by public disputes often spilling onto social media, where arguments, rivalries, and grievances could play out in front of large audiences. While gang activity was present in South Austin, not all incidents of violence were directly gang-related. On the afternoon of August 13, 2025, Kevin visited his cousin Jacquez at the liquor store. The visit was routine, part of his day-to-day presence in the area. At some point, Kevin returned to his vehicle, which was parked in a lot, and began a Facebook Live session from inside. During the live stream, Kevin discussed the parking dispute, mentioning the vehicle's position in a way that suggested he was addressing either a recent or ongoing disagreement. The camera captured him wearing his large chain, speaking in a calm but animated manner, using hand gestures as he talked. The conditions that day were typical of a late summer evening in Chicago. It was still daylight, the temperature was warm, and the street was active with customers entering and exiting nearby businesses. Several potential security camera locations were within range, including those on the liquor store, other nearby shops, and possibly traffic cameras from the surrounding streets. As Kevin continued streaming, an unknown vehicle pulled into the lot. Accounts vary on whether the suspect exited the vehicle or leaned out from the driver's side window, but witnesses confirmed that there was an exchange of words between Kevin and the person in the car. The phrases reported, "What's up, bro?" followed by "What's up? Hell nah," were brief, giving little insight into the full context.
Like, that be the shit, and that's what make be wanting to get into it with y'all, because y'all ain't got no respect. What's up, bro? What's up? Hell no!
Multiple witnesses stated that the suspect demanded Kevin's chain. Kevin reportedly resisted, possibly attempting to prevent the theft or even trying to wrestle a weapon away. The confrontation quickly escalated into a physical struggle. The conflict ended with a single gunshot to Kevin's chest. The suspect fled in a white vehicle, believed to have driven toward the Eisenhower Expressway. Kevin collapsed in the lot. His live stream continued to broadcast the aftermath, with the cameras still capturing the scene. Online viewers saw bystanders rushing to help, some applying pressure to the wound in an attempt to stop the bleeding. Those watching remotely were unsure at first whether the situation was real or staged, given the nature of live videos and Kevin's usual outspoken style. The scene unfolded rapidly, with emergency calls placed within seconds. Paramedics arrived soon after and transported Kevin to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The incident began with the sound of a single gunshot echoing through the area. Cousin Jacques Smith, who was nearby, immediately turned toward the noise. His eyes caught the moment Kevin fell to the ground, the force of the shot ending his movement instantly. Smith later recounted that there was no time to react before Kevin collapsed. Another witness, Alvin Jackson, was positioned at a different vantage point, but had a clear view of the moments leading up to the shooting. Jackson stated that there had been a physical struggle between Kevin and another man before the gun went off. His account aligned with what Smith observed, confirming that the gunshot was not the first sign of conflict. It was a conclusion of an altercation.
Kevin Watson's murder has already been viewed nearly 2 million times on Facebook as he was killed in the middle of his Facebook Live. In that video, you can see him getting out of his car before hearing a single gunshot fired, happening mere blocks away from this police station here in South Austin.
Get into it with y'all, because y'all ain't got no respect. What's up, bro? What's up?
Kevin Watson's final moments captured on Facebook Live as gunfire rang out in this parking lot Wednesday evening on Madison near LeClaire Avenue in Chicago's South Austin neighborhood.
He was choking for breath. He was trying to struggle to breathe.
All of it unfolding right after Watson left his cousin's job at this nearby liquor store to begin his Facebook Live in his car.
I wouldn't let him walk out the store. He was a good man for this community. No matter what he done, he helped people, you know? He helped me get this job in there.
Close friends turned heartbroken witnesses say as Watson was walking to his car.
He was talking to a guy, and he was going to his car, and then the guy followed behind him. So when the guy followed behind him, pulled a gun on him. So he was trying to wrestle with the gun, and the gun went off.
Police say the 40-year-old was shot in his chest.
I rubbed his palm, and I squeezed his hand. He wouldn't squeeze back.
Relatives tell us he leaves behind a 6-year-old son and say Watson was killed just weeks shy of his own birthday.
We're going to have to figure out how to move on and be strong day to day and help each other get past this, because this didn't just hurt one person, this hurt a lot of us.
Police haven't given a motive behind the shooting. So far, no one has been arrested.
Within seconds of Kevin hitting the pavement, multiple emergency calls were placed. Witnesses used cell phones to contact 911, providing dispatchers with fragmented but urgent details. A man shot, a possible struggle beforehand, and a suspect fleeing the scene. The first responders to arrive were Chicago Police Department officers, followed closely by paramedics. Officers began securing the perimeter, directing bystanders away from the immediate area while paramedics reached Kevin's side. The medical team quickly assessed his condition, noting the severity of the injury and the critical loss of blood. He was lifted onto a stretcher and moved toward the waiting ambulance. The vehicle departed within minutes, headed for Mount Sinai Hospital. Throughout the short drive, paramedics attempted life-saving measures. Despite their efforts, Kevin's condition did not improve. Kevin arrived at Mount Sinai Hospital still unresponsive. Medical personnel immediately transported him into the trauma unit, where doctors attempted advanced resuscitation efforts. After repeated attempts to revive him failed, Kevin was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The time of death was officially recorded, and the case shifted from an active medical emergency to a homicide investigation. Hospital staff notified law enforcement officers stationed on-site, who began preparing the necessary documentation for the Cook County Medical Examiner's office. Word of the shooting began to spread before official notifications could be made. Kevin's cousin Jacques Smith had already witnessed the shooting firsthand, and his calls to relatives quickly passed the news through the family. However, for some, the discovery came in a different, more public way. Kevin had been broadcasting live on Facebook before the shooting. This live stream captured the confrontation, the sound of the gunshot, and the chaotic moments afterward. Family members who were watching in real time saw events unfold as they happened. Others learned of his death after the video was shared online. This unexpected, unfiltered exposure intensified the initial shock for relatives. Instead of hearing the news in private, some experienced it publicly alongside thousands of strangers. The Facebook Live video quickly began circulating beyond Kevin's immediate social circle. Within 24 hours, it had been shared across multiple platforms and gained significant traction. By the third day, the footage had surpassed 2 million views. Public reactions varied widely. Many expressed disbelief that such a violent act had been captured and broadcast in real time. Others called for immediate justice, urging authorities to act swiftly in identifying and apprehending the suspect. Community leaders and local activists began referencing the video in online discussions, framing it as an example of the escalating gun violence in Chicago. The footage became both a critical piece of evidence for investigators and a focal point for public debate. As Kevin's cousin and a direct eyewitness, Smith's account carried personal and investigative significance. He described hearing the gunshot, seeing Kevin collapse, and rushing toward him. Smith noted that Kevin had been active in his community and was not known to engage in violent disputes. He emphasized that what he saw was a sudden and irreversible act, not the result of an ongoing feud. Jackson provided a complimentary but distinct account. He stated he had seen the shooter before and believed that Kevin and the suspect knew each other. This suggested the incident was not random. Jackson described seeing the two men struggle over a gun, with the suspect eventually gaining control and firing. He also recalled the suspect fleeing immediately afterward. Several bystanders gave statements that confirmed the presence of a white car near the scene. According to their observations, the suspect entered this vehicle, which sped away moments after shooting. At least 2 witnesses reported that the shooter appeared to be wearing a ski mask, obscuring much of his face. This detail complicated visual identification efforts. The Chicago Police Department announced that a homicide investigation was underway. As of August 15, 2025, no arrests had been made. Detectives emphasized that while leads were being pursued, they were in the preliminary stages of evidence review. Investigators secured surveillance footage from the liquor store in front of which the shooting occurred, as well as from nearby businesses. The Facebook Live video was downloaded and preserved as digital evidence. This footage provided multiple angles and timelines that could be synchronized with other surveillance material. Witness interviews were conducted, with particular focus on those who had been closest to Kevin and the suspect at the time of the shooting. Detectives documented each account to identify consistent details and discrepancies. Several obstacles became clear early in the investigation. Some witnesses expressed fear of retaliation, making them hesitant to share detailed information. In addition, the white getaway vehicle posed a tracking challenge. If the car had been stolen or equipped with false license plates, locating it would require more extensive investigative resources. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the victim as Kevin Watson, matching personal details from hospital records and family statements. This confirmation allowed investigators to proceed with official case documentation and public reporting. The investigation into Kevin Watson's fatal shooting considered several possible motives, each drawn from witness statements, physical evidence, and contextual factors surrounding the incident. While no single theory was confirmed at the time, 4 primary lines of reasoning emerged. One of the most immediate theories considered by law enforcement involved robbery. Witnesses reported that Kevin Watson had been wearing a large gold chain around his neck at the time of the shooting. This piece of jewelry was said to be prominently displayed, easily visible to anyone in the vicinity. According to multiple accounts, moments before the shooting, a male suspect was heard making demands for jewelry. These demands, overheard by those nearby, specifically referenced the chain. The positioning of this demand within the sequence of events, occurring shortly before the gunfire, gave the robbery motive early prominence in the investigation. Detectives noted that the chain was missing from the scene after the incident, further fueling speculation that the shooting was directly connected to theft. A second possible motive centered on a personal dispute between the victim and the shooter. Several witnesses described the interaction between the 2 men as one that indicated prior familiarity. This familiarity was suggested by the way they addressed each other, as well as the absence of initial aggression in their voices before the argument escalated. According to statements taken from individuals present, The exchange included references to past disagreements, though details of those disputes were not publicly disclosed. Investigators took note of the possibility that the shooting was not random, but rather the culmination of an existing conflict. A third theory pointed toward a disagreement over parking as the trigger for the fatal confrontation. Video footage recorded moments before the shooting captured Kevin Watson, making remarks that implied frustration about a vehicle blocking or occupying space he believed should be available to him. These comments, combined with body language observed on the recording, indicated a dispute had been brewing regarding the positioning of vehicles. While parking-related confrontations are common in dense urban neighborhoods, investigators considered whether this particular argument escalated unexpectedly into deadly violence. A fourth theory involved the possibility of gang retaliation. While Kevin Watson was not confirmed to have been affiliated with any gang, the shooting's location, within a neighborhood known for long-standing gang tensions, raised questions about whether the violence was part of a broader cycle of retaliation. Law enforcement noted that similar incidents in the South Austin area had often been linked to disputes between local groups. However, no direct evidence surfaced connecting Watson to any such organization, leaving this theory speculative. Kevin Watson's death occurred within the larger framework of violent crime in Chicago. By mid-2025, the city's homicide rate showed a slight decline compared to the same period in 2024. Despite this marginal improvement, Chicago remained among the cities with the highest homicide rates in the United States. Within the city, South Austin was recognized as one of the hardest-hit neighborhoods. The area consistently ranked near the top for shootings, robberies, and other violent crimes, making any incident there part of a troubling pattern rather than an isolated event. The fact that portions of the incident were streamed live on Facebook added a complex dimension to the case. In recent years, Chicago had seen a number of violent acts broadcast in real time on social media. These so-called Facebook Live murders raised new concerns among both law enforcement and the public about the speed and manner in which violent content is disseminated online. Advocacy groups and city officials renewed calls for technology platforms to develop faster intervention systems to halt the spread of graphic violence before it could be widely shared. Critics argued that such footage could re-traumatize victims' families and communities, while others contended that it served as valuable evidence in holding perpetrators accountable. The shooting, which took place in broad daylight, reinforced a growing perception among residents that time of day offered no guarantee of safety. For business owners in South Austin, the incident served as yet another deterrent to customers, particularly those from outside the neighborhood. Community leaders pointed out that each high-profile act of violence not only harmed the individuals directly involved, but also eroded the area's economic and social stability. The fear generated by such events often led to reduced foot traffic, earlier business closures, and a general decline in community morale. In the aftermath of Kevin Watson's death, family members spoke publicly about their loss. His cousin, Jacquez Smith, who had been nearby during the incident, described Watson as a good man and insisted he didn't deserve this. His sister-in-law expressed her grief and determination through the phrase, "Justice for Tugg," a nickname by which Watson was known among friends and relatives. These statements were repeated across local media coverage and became central to the narrative surrounding the case. Within days of the shooting, a vigil was held at a location where Watson was killed. Candles and flowers were arranged in a small memorial, and photographs of Watson were displayed alongside messages of remembrance. The gathering drew not only family and close friends, but also community members who had never met Watson but felt compelled to show solidarity. On social media, tributes multiplied, often accompanied by the hashtags #JusticeForTugg and #KevinWatson. These tags allowed the story to spread far beyond South Austin, reaching audiences across Chicago and beyond. Reactions to the shooting and its coverage were mixed. Many expressed support for the family's demand for swift arrests and justice. Others, however, criticized the public sharing of the shooting video, citing concerns about the emotional impact on viewers and the dignity of the victim. Some argued that such footage should be withheld from the public altogether, while others countered that it could aid in identifying suspects and securing convictions. This debate mirrored broader national discussions about the ethics of broadcasting violent events online, particularly when the footage originates from victims or bystanders rather than law enforcement. Following the incident that resulted in Kevin's death, law enforcement prioritized identifying the owner of the vehicle seen leaving the scene. Surveillance footage from multiple angles was collected, including city-operated traffic cameras, nearby business security systems, and residential doorbell cameras. Investigators used license plate recognition technology to narrow potential matches. The process involved cross-referencing partial plate numbers, vehicle make and model, and distinguishing features such as aftermarket rims, window tint levels, and bumper stickers. Once a list of possible registered owners was compiled, detectives began interviews and background checks. They examined prior arrest records, known associates, and any documented involvement in violent incidents. Simultaneously, forensic specialists processed the ballistic evidence. Spent shell casings recovered from the crime scene were entered into the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NIBIN. The goal was to match the markings on the casings to those from other crime scenes or to weapons already in police custody. Each casing was examined under magnification to identify unique firing pin impressions, breech face marks, and extractor or ejector patterns. Parallel to ballistic review, detectives examined Kevin's most recent personal and professional interactions. Phone records, social media activity, and text messages were analyzed for signs of disputes, threats, or unresolved tensions. Investigators also reviewed his financial transactions to see if any irregularities or sudden withdrawals indicate extortion, debt, or other conflicts. People he had argued with in recent weeks were questioned to determine if any had motive or means to commit the crime. The police department set up a dedicated tip line for anonymous information. Public service announcements were broadcast on local television, radio, and official social media accounts, urging community members to share anything they knew, even small details that might seem irrelevant. The department emphasized confidentiality and protection from retaliation for those providing leads. Meanwhile, community members began conducting their own online investigations. Social media groups dedicated to discussing the case emerged within hours of the incident. Users analyzed the live stream footage frame by frame, attempting to identify voices, background noises, and vehicles visible in the recording. Comparisons were made to known individuals from the area, and unverified claims circulated widely, prompting police to warn against spreading misinformation that could compromise the investigation. Police monitored these online spaces, occasionally verifying credible tips and filtering out speculation. Some anonymous users sent screenshots, video snippets, and location data directly to investigators, aiding in narrowing the search for the suspect. Despite progress, investigators faced significant challenges. Several potential witnesses either refused to provide statements or gave vague accounts inconsistent with available evidence. Some feared retaliation, while others cited distrust of law enforcement. This lack of cooperation slowed the process of confirming timelines and suspect movements. Another complication arose when evidence suggested that the suspect may have left the city and possibly the state within hours of the incident. Tracking movements across jurisdictions required coordination with state police, federal agencies, and in some cases, international law enforcement partners. Subpoenas for travel records, credit card activity, and cell phone location data were processed, but delays in obtaining responses limited immediate action. The viral nature of the live stream introduced both opportunities and complications. While it generated valuable leads, it also created a flood of false claims and theories, forcing investigators to spend additional time verifying or dismissing each one. Investigators are still working to determine whether the live stream was intentional on Kevin's part, accidental, or orchestrated by another person. Digital forensic specialists are analyzing metadata, timestamps, and account access history to see if the broadcast was started remotely by Kevin or by someone else in his presence. The motive behind broadcasting the event remains unclear. Evidence is inconclusive regarding premeditation. While some interactions in Kevin's recent history suggest possible grudges, others indicate that the encounter could have escalated spontaneously. Investigators are examining whether the suspect had been monitoring Kevin's location before the incident or if the meeting occurred by chance. This question has emerged in discussions between law enforcement, community leaders, and violence prevention advocates. Theories range from possible missed opportunities for conflict mediation to gaps in support systems for at-risk individuals. Police are reviewing whether Kevin or the suspect had prior involvement with intervention programs, court-ordered counseling, or mediation efforts. The video has provided unique real-time evidence, capturing both audio and visual elements of the incident. However, its public availability has also fueled speculation and misinformation, some of which has influenced potential witnesses' recollections. While certain leads have emerged directly from the footage, detectives remain cautious about how much public interpretation aligns with verified facts. The investigation into Kevin's death remains active. Detectives continue pursuing leads, analyzing evidence, and coordinate with outside agencies as necessary. Authorities have not released the suspect's identity or confirmed whether they have a primary person of interest, citing the need to protect the integrity of the case. The incident has drawn widespread attention, not only because of the violent nature of the act, but also because it unfolded in real time before an online audience. This combination of immediacy and accessibility has made it the focus of both formal police work and informal online sleuthing. For now, the suspect remains at large. The key questions, from the reason for the live stream to the true motive behind the confrontation, remain unanswered. With public tips continuing to come in and forensic analyses still underway, the case represents both the challenges and possibilities of modern criminal investigations in a digital age. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.